What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fast Break. Here with you live on Independence Weekend. For those who celebrate that, hope you're having a good 4th. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
Everything is good, man. Just been kind of relaxing, enjoying my little off weekend as well. So, how's everything on your end?
Well, I had to work this weekend, but the beauty of it, we weren't too busy, so that's always a positive right there. So, lots to discuss tonight, D-Lock. And, with the season kind of, trying to get back in the swing, players trying to get back to that game shape, trying to keep it, that kind of keep that flow of basketball going into them since they, came to a screeching halt back in March. We're still seeing reports, players, still testing positive. You got Landry Shamet, testing positive here past couple days ago. So he was going down to Orlando. Gordon Hayward, he said he'll go down to the bubble, but, he has his wife is pregnant, so he'll be leaving the bubble. So,
that's not going to help.
Yeah, it's not going to help. And plus, come close to the beginning of the season, will he go down there and kind of risk, the health of his newborn child and his pregnant wife? Before we got on, I don't want to say breaking news, but the Milwaukee Bucks shut down their practice facility after a few cases, turning about there, reported by Shams about 10 minutes ago. So, D-Lock, what you think? Do you think things will get started on time, or will these cases still pop up until tip off for the preseason on July 22nd?
I ain't gonna lie, dude. Like the way that they're running things right now, they're trying to force it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen still, but I'm still believing that there's a chance that they may push things back. And then again, the problem that lies with this is the fact that we still have to see they're still going to do more tests, right?
Yeah.
We're going to figure out, more people that are going to test positive. So, dude, I was just telling you about 10, 15 minutes ago that here in Florida, we just had, yesterday or the day before, we had 11,000 people test positive. 11,000 in one day. Not over a span of a month. And then a span over 24 hours. So that tells you a lot. And I know I'm in Tallahassee. I know the cases are not huge here. So it has to be Central and South Florida. Where is the NBA gonna be? It's gonna be in Central Florida.
Yep.
So it's gonna be, now how they've approved everything, they're so, positive about going forward. Even that's a kind of a bad word to use right now with people testing positive, but they're so positive about moving forward. I see that they're still going to push it, and they're going to find a way to get this league going. And it's seeming like that. I think too much money is invested, too much money can be made, and they're not going to turn that down. So there's a possibility that we're going to see like a lot of players that we probably haven't heard of, whether it's been in the summer league, these different leagues. We're going to see a lot of, because a lot of players are going to test positive, and they're going to either leave the bubble or they're not going to show up. So we're going to see different teams out here. So this championship is going to have what we call an asterisk around it. And the reason why is because people are going to say, well, the whole wrong thing was going on, so this wasn't the original team, X, Y, and Z. There's a lot of things that are going to be said about this. So I do see it still going on pace. I'm right on time, but I think that they're going to rush. I think they're going to force it to happen.
And the money's a big factor, and with a lot of these media companies like your Turner, your ESPN, Disney, NBC, so forth, they kind of are searching for content, like fresh content. And you got NASCAR back, you getting boxing back, MMA still around, and WWE, so forth.
Yeah.
But baseball's coming back in the fold later on this month. Yeah, they kind of have similar issues like the NBA has having. I read yesterday like a Atlanta Braves player, his wife came out and said, I forgot his name, but his wife came out and said he tested positive for coronavirus. And, she said, he hadn't really gone out, been washing his hands, being precautious, hadn't seen his friends in a while, only people he'd been around, his family. And he still got it. So, the question is like, up to that preseason point for the NBA, can you, I don't know, keep this thing at bay, keep everything at bay, hope nothing else pops up?
But you want to keep the numbers down as well, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that at some point, what will affect the league to continue going is let's just say the numbers stay where they are right now, and the league starts up, and all of a sudden we have like 20% of the basketball players in the bubble that test positive. So okay, let's say it's 20%. That changed. Now instead of it being 20, now it turns into 50%. What do they do then? Because at some point they're gonna have to do something. You have to know, like, they're gonna keep this league going, or they're gonna have to stop it. Because for people, like you said, if somebody, the Braves player, he hasn't been doing anything and he still catches it, like, you're gonna have people grabbing rebounds, trying to box out, getting fouls, elbows being thrown in people's faces, and they're gonna get it. So it's gonna be weird, man, to see how they do this. But like I said, I feel like it's being forced right now.
And I'm reading what Shams has tweeted a day ago about the testing and whatnot and traveling to Orlando. He tweeted, the NBA has informed teams that a player would not be allowed to travel with team to Orlando if he misses coronavirus test on one of 2 days before travel date on July 7th through the 9th. So that's Tuesday through Thursday. Player would then have to register 3 consecutive negative tests before traveling. So, if the guy decides to skip out or whatever, or forgot to do his testing and stuff like that, D-Lock, you got to do 3 consecutive tests to just to make it to the bubble.
Yes, this is like getting your driver's license. You have to take 2 tests. You got to take the writing, and you got the other test, and then you got the driving part. This is what this is, but the difference is you have to make sure that, because like you just said, the Braves player, he really was washing his hands. He was doing everything he can, and he still got it.
Yep.
So at this point, how do they approach it? Do you say, okay, well, this person is showing no symptoms. They did test for it, but we don't see them as any harm. So, like I just read, I think, about Jokic, he just tested positive. And head coach over there was still saying, well, we still expect him to be in Orlando with us. I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean you expect him to be in Orlando with you in the bubble? Like, if you take Jokic and he just tests positive, and you still plan for him to travel, I think he's supposed to leave July 12th. If he's just tested positive and it's been within 2 weeks, and you're gonna have him go down there with you, why even have a bubble? I don't know. I mean, I would love for the sport. I would love for all sports to come back, but this is, dude, come on now. Like, for one, to hear that the state of Florida had 11,000 in one day is crazy. Mm-hmm. But to hear that the NBA is going to travel down to that state and still try to have a league, that sounds even crazier.
And my thing is, knowing how these players, these professional players, they're creatures of habit. I discussed this about 2 weeks ago. We discussed this last week also. They're creatures of habit. These are dudes that, once they get done playing games, whatever, and cool down and whatnot, they hit in the city.
Yep.
And the bubble, it may be nice for the first few days and whatnot, but after a while, you know, you kind of want to get itch to get out and do something. And, you know, we heard stories of, you know, NBA players and stuff like that, and groupies and stories like that. You know, I had somebody told me one time that this is about J.R. Smith, who recently signed the Lakers because Avery Bradley dropped out. J.R. Smith had a rookie, right? Had his rookie drive to this lady's house, and J.R. was at this lady's house for a good couple hours or so. Made this said rookie stay in the car, but you know the bright side of it, that said rookie got $30,000 just to do that.
Just sit in the car.
Just sit in the car. Hey, drive JR to this girl's house. Chill out for a couple hours. And do what they do for a couple hours. And boom, he got gifted $30,000. Stuff like that. These dudes are creatures of habit.
Yep.
And after that first few days in the bubble, are we going to be hearing stories about these dudes sneaking out or trying to sneak girls in? Because I highly doubt. I mean, I'm not saying they would, but I see more stories of them trying to sneaking out than sneaking somebody in.
Yeah. But we're going to hear something. Shannon Sharp had a good point, I think, a couple of days ago. He said, if you have a lot of people that, if it's a problem with regular people, you can imagine what it's going to be with people that have millions of dollars and they have access to anything they want to do, and you're trying to put them in a bubble. You're trying to tell them, okay, you can't go anywhere. You got to stay here. You can do whatever you want as long as you stay in this area. So I don't think, like, I love sports. You know, like I said, I was a professional athlete at one point. I love sports. I feel like it's something that it makes, you know, life a lot more funner. But sometimes if you just think about it, it could be a risk if things get worse. I mean, what they're going to do, go out there. You see the picture with Zion, look like he's in really a very good shape, but he got a mask on. Like, he's protecting himself, but are they going to do that at the back? Like, are we going to see coaches on the sideline with masks on?
I think I read somewhere that they will have masks on. I don't think, you know, for the players, they won't have masks because, you know, they're up and breathing and stuff like that, and you try to make these guys put a mask on. It's kind of be difficult as it is. So I think the coaches will, and then whoever else they have in limited, capacity, they will as well. Now, I haven't seen anything about the refs or anything like that, but it could be possible that they don't wear a mask as well during the games. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be it's gonna be something to behold. Like in my job, once we walk through that door, you gotta have your mask on wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if these guys, and Marcus made, a shout out to Marcus to be in the chat tonight. Marcus made a good point. These nurses and doctors, they got all the precautions in the world: face shield, gloves, masks, aprons, all that stuff, and they still catching, the coronavirus and dying too.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's just
weird, and the thing is, I just like we can't be shocked if we hear of any player getting the virus, like no matter who it is in the future, because right now, like, okay, all they did really technically, if you think about the NBA, all they did was put it in one city. That's all they did.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they did. So we just put it in one city. Now we are having an NBA. We just pushed it back. My only problem is, how come we're not paying attention to the doctors that are giving us this information? They're telling us, it needs to be really taken care of. Like, you have to do X, Y, and Z. Make sure that you are not, in any kind of way to give the virus to anybody. And it is kind of dangerous. How come we're not, like, acknowledging that?
Well,
but it's weird, man.
My point on the doctor thing, stuff like that, we're kind of in this age right now that, and I say this in my other podcast, the Crooks Process, we're in a society now with social media and internet that people that normally wouldn't have a voice and opinion, you got those folks that can reach people on a broad scale in a matter of minutes. And you have those same like-minded people agree with them. And you got those people right here will dilute the message of more qualified person and talk about that said subject.
Right.
Case in point, a person I wish I was never introduced to, Clay Travis. This dude spouts out numbers about the coronavirus and blah, 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 and this and that. And this dude ain't qualified, ain't touches a stethoscope in his life, but he's qualified to tell people numbers and say it's a hoax and stuff like that. And some people will agree with him and take his word as gospel. Meanwhile, you got Dr. So-and-so from Washington State, been boundless from the beginning, telling you this and that, what you got to do. And some people call that person a quack. Or they say that person, it's just like the flu. I had a friend who told me that, who actually had this virus or disease. Say, well, it's just like the flu. And I kind of told him, like, well, okay, yeah, it may feel like that, but we still don't know the after effects, the symptoms, what's the long-term effect of this. We don't know.
So how can we say it's the flu, right?
Yeah, you can't say it's like the flu because we don't know. Like we talked about last week, Rudy Gobert saying he still got hit his senses, it still ain't come back to him. And And they said, you know, if you fit, healthy, and stuff like that, you can get over this quickly. Not the case.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he's in some kind of solid shape.
You know, you can't say that, you know.
But
So,
this statement is something that people like. It's like right now we have to learn from our own mistakes or learn from us going through that experience. That should not be the case, especially when it comes to something so serious. But again, you know, not everybody takes it like that. And for somebody to tell you, hey, you know, this is how serious this is, but we're kind of pushing it, we're brushing it off to the side. This is the reason why the cases aren't going up. This is the reason. So at the same time, the fact that, oh, it's just the flu, you know, people hear that and say, well, that's exactly what it is. So I'm going to catch it anyway. I think at one point, you know, you do have a lot of people that believe that everybody's going to get it at one point. But people take that, or I'm pretty sure a lot of people will say, well, if that's the case, then why stop doing what I'm doing? Why wear a mask? I'm going to catch it anyway. That's the response that a lot of people will give. Because it's not stopping what I'm doing. Like, I mean, it's not gonna, I'm gonna still get it regardless. So now when that happens, now you're affecting other people that may have a bigger effect on in the future, you know, than you. So, I mean, like I said, this is something that we're kind of pushing to the side. I would love for the NBA to come back. Like I said, I would love for all sports, but we do have to pay attention. Like, I really want to see what happens if more players continue to test positive. Like I said, the fact that the coach said he expects Jokic to still be on the plane to the bubble with the Rona, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, why would you have somebody who have it and bring them inside the bubble?
and not only that, Jokic is, well, to my knowledge, he's still in Serbia.
Yep.
When that announcement came up. So, you know, so he still got cross. I mean, he still got a long flight to get back to the U.S. So it's like,
yeah,
damn, dog, is it really worth it?
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, we're transitioning to our subject, you know, well, kind of the same subject, but, you know, you brought a great point, you know. Yeah, we love to see sports back and stuff like that, but would be a risk long term to your health, to your players. We're just talking about all the leagues, because Jimmy Johnson in NASCAR, your multiple time champion, tested positive last week, and he missed this past weekend's race. You got players in the NBA testing positive, you know, and we'll make it to Orlando. I'll bring up transition to our other subject, Victor Oladipo. You know, D-Lock, a team I had, kind of like a sleeper team. If everybody was healthy and Miles Turner, you know, kind of refocus on his game, a sleeper team that can possibly make the Eastern Conference Finals. Now that takes a hit. You know, do you see more players potentially pulling out? Because you got an all-star. Oladipo said, hey, this ain't for me. I'm going to just sit out and just see how things play out. Do you see more players going that route like Oladipo?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Kyrie did have his thought about things, so that didn't help anything. But like I said, there's so much stuff going on right at the moment. This is the ending result of it is, you know, players are considering being on their way there. Money is involved in a lot of these decisions, but you have some players that are not really hurting with money. So for them, it's like, okay, yeah, like I don't need to be there. And on top of that, this is another thing I think people are overlooking, is the fact that what teams consider themselves to actually have a chance to win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, we know the Pacers had a solid chance of making the playoffs, but as far as making a run at the NBA Finals, I think that was a little bit lower. They were at the bottom. I mean, we have at least 3 teams ahead of them, at least. So they had a chance, yes, but do they really have a really good chance of getting to the NBA Finals and then win? Okay, that's a little bit different. So when it comes to that, now these teams who don't have the solid chance, they are the ones that saying, these are the players that are really saying, okay, well, hey, I don't think it's smart for me to be there. Except, the Laker players that we've seen and maybe Lou Williams, for the fact of the matter. Everybody else, we haven't really seen anybody from Philadelphia say they're not going. We haven't heard anything from Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. I don't think I heard anything from Toronto Raptors. So I think that some of these decisions are based on, the fact that, yes, they can make some money, but they're already looking at the fact that, okay, do we really have a serious chance to go? They're not going to say that, but they're not going to voice it. But, I mean, just think about some of what they're saying. Like, Oladipo is already planning for next year. And before this, he was all excited. I don't know if you remember, but he was on Undisputed talking about that they were going to contend for a title when he comes back. It will be fully healthy. So now that everything has happened, well, now it's just better for me to prepare for next year. Like, nah, man, like some stuff like that, it's a reason for that. They're not telling you the full story behind it. And I think most of these decisions, it's coming at, kind of being a little bit realistic, but I guess saying, well, do we seriously have a chance to, make it far? And they're not going to voice it, but it's clear. Like, you're making a decision that, if they open the league back up, why would you not come back and play? But, to Oladipo's decision and others, and it's going to be interesting who else comes out and says this, like, what's the purpose for not playing? What's the main reason? So, I mean, like I said, if you really look at it, like I said, Oladipo said, hey, this is going to be an exciting year. We're going to have a chance, X, Y, and Z. Now all this stuff is happening. It's like, you know what? I don't think so. This is not for me. I think I'll prepare for next year. So, and remember we talked about this show like probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. We're talking about how the fact that how are they going to, you got all these people that see that this year is going to be a little bit longer than the original year. So therefore that means that the off season is a lot shorter. So now that it's a lot shorter, they're planning on saying, well, you know what? I don't think I'll be able to make this word because, I'm not going to be able to perform the same to follow next year. I got to see to double check. But Oladipo probably got to get paid soon. So that's another thing that's coming to his mind is I don't want to mess up, I don't want to jeopardize my health next year or this year. And now when it's time to get paid, oh, well, injury, X, Y, Z. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to see a lot more players that pull out. And if that happens, like I said earlier, we're going to see a lot of people from different leagues, make their NBA dreams come true and show what they can do.
Yeah, and Oladipo backing out, and I mentioned there's a sleeper team that can make the playoffs. I mean, make a deep run in the playoffs. If the matchups go along that way. But with him dropping out, I use a team like the Washington Wizards, for example. Bradley Beal, a guy that, has another big payday coming to him, I think after next season. A guy that's being rumored in trade talks with some of the bigger teams like the Nets, Lakers, Clippers, and whoever else. I forgot who else I read at. Why would I want to risk, potential injury and then and not having a chance to win the championship, and then kind of hurt my chances in the long run getting a new deal, which I probably will get a big money deal. But now as other teams, see my injury, it probably will back off of that. What's the point of me, us in Washington playing and just getting swept by if we make the playoffs against Milwaukee? What's the point,
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that is starting to stick out is, we're going to get swept. We're not going to make it that far. So let's just get ready for next year. I think I was reading too. I think we talked about it or went over before the show. They have another camp. I think they were saying that they're going to have a different site, but they're closing in on Chicago, having a different site for teams that, basically want to finish out the season. But to me, I mean, they're talking like it's like another 50 games. Like, it's only 14, 15 games left. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, to see how this is set up and what happens, this is going to be very interesting. Because at the same time, you want to have the league go and you want to push it, but a lot of players are going to think about next year.
Yep.
A lot of.
I think, one thing we really hadn't touched on too much, if this season don't go through, the owners can terminate, their bargaining agreement contract with the players. And I'm pretty sure most players don't want to do this, but I think another thing included, with the money talk and stuff like that, this affects, salary cap money and stuff like that down the road if they don't play this season. Because right now, I think they're the 50-50 split between players and owners in the league, in the NBA. They got way better deals than the NFL players. And, if something happens to this season, that deal can go bye-bye.
That's what they're thinking about.
And, and I'm pretty sure these players has had long conversations about this. It's like, yeah, we don't want to play, but in the same breath, these owners, could terminate this deal. And with the Adam Silver, even when he was lieutenant governor, he is always trying to push for this hard cap. Always. I think in the last CBA agreement, he was trying to push for a hard cap, similar to like with the NHL. And if something were to happen and the season don't play, they can just pull that away, and Silver might try to wiggle some things in that he always trying to would like to have in there when David Stern's in office.
Yeah, but this is showing us also. You remember for the longest we were saying, well, the NBA is a players' league, and this is all about the players, X, Y, and Z. This is one of them times now where it doesn't look too much like that.
Yep.
To be honest, I mean, if you look at it, this is now, it was all this crap about how the NFL is totally different. There's not much of a players' league. This is looking a lot like the NFL right now because of this. So now you're looking at a situation where, damn, like, I don't want to play, but hey, if we don't play, then this can happen, that can happen. All of this different stuff can happen.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I won't say it's like a domino effect. It's like, we play, we're risking health, but we're kind of protecting the future, so to speak. That the future of the league, like the Zions of the world, Zion, Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, those type of guys, Devin Booker, if some of these older guys are thinking like that. But, for the owners, some of these owners, and we talked about this in the past, they pockets don't run that deep. And we kind of, showing, in this pandemic and this COVID situation, a lot of these owners' pockets don't run that deep. And, with the China money getting messed up in the beginning of the season by Daryl Morey, and then, the season being cut short, there's a lot of factors, going in, like if the season get canceled, these owners are trying to rework some money around, and you could be at a stalemate with the NBA or with its players.
Yeah, it's causing a lot of issues. This is that quote that we're kind of seeing those true colors. So
yep.
I know that, like I said, now there was another quote, money, more money, more problems, as Biggie said. Yep. So we're seeing that. And now you're in a situation where you're making moves because of how it's going to affect your money in the future league's money. So a lot of the times, we're hearing the fact that LeBron wants to play. We're hearing Kyrie say he don't. We're hearing different things, but there's a lot of reason for that we don't know. And all you got to do is just sit and do a little bit of research. And it's like you said, okay, well, dang, you know what? They don't have that much money, saved up like that. These leagues, these owners, the money that they had is not what we think it is. So they're not really willing to just give money to anybody. Like, they're not going to do that. So like I said, right now, come on, dude, think about it, man. But if a coach tell you a guy got coronavirus and he's still going down to the bubble, that has to tell you something. Like, it has to be something that's involved. Like, it has to be. There's a reason for that. That means that it's bigger than just the virus. So, but we'll see. I mean, like I said, I wanted to come back, but it's just at the risk of players and their family. Man, that's tough, boy. That's a tough decision, and you have to be, you got to make the right decision when it comes to that. This is not something that you say, okay, well, hey, I'm going to do this, money motivated, and you're willing to risk people's lives, because you do that, the end result and how these players will react to losing somebody close to them, they're not going to worry about the money. The money's the last thing that's going to be on their mind.
Yeah, and you can say this in other sports leagues too. Some owners' pockets don't run that deep, or the money controls the narrative, like we've seen with the team in Washington. The money controls the narrative, and this is where we're at in the NBA. The money is controlling the narrative, and we'll see how the long-term effects affects these things and whatnot, with the disease and whatnot. What's the long-term ramifications of everything? Because these guys are stay healthy, stay in great shape, eat right. Not like me. I'm sitting there eating I have a milkshake right in front of me, but for these guys, they eating right. They do all types of things to keep their body right throughout the all season. And if these guys ain't feeling right if they get the disease, then we might have a different outlook of things, in the coming future.
Yeah. I mean, it's this like I said, I think the last show that we had, I said that other leagues, you got the NFL coming up, baseball, where how basketball responds and how basketball does with this is going to determine how other sports deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the guinea pig right now, to be honest.
Yep.
That's where we are. So we need to know that, because if something happens, you lose a lot of players to the virus. Does the NFL still have their season on pace? Like, what happens with that? So, all eyes are on this league, big time.
And ladies and gentlemen, when we mean like all eyes on the NBA, I know baseball is starting before the NBA, but it seemed like the NBA had more of a plan in place compared to baseball. Because let's be honest, baseball kind of like at the 11th hour decided to do the season for 60 games. And, they got players backing out and stuff like that as well. So between these two leagues, we'll see how things go. If, for the NBA, this is a basketball show. For the NBA, it's just like, I guess D-Lock is just a wait and see for everything.
I mean, it's exciting because you got to think, look at this. This started in February.
Well, the first couple cases in the U.S., like very late December, early January. When that, I guess when that, I don't want to say patient zero, but when that patient zero came from China, when he's coming back to China, coming back to Washington State from China, and then that person eventually dying, and that's when things start going to the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's been, dude, it's July.
Yeah.
So it's been damn near the whole year. So right now, like, this is something that has affected everything, and now you're looking at all this time without sports. Other sports, a bigger sport this year, that's big every 4 years is the Olympics. They had to postpone.
Mm-hmm.
So, this whole time you're hearing, okay, we don't have any sports. And now, come on, dude, they're going to bring the NBA back with Kawhi Leonard playing against LeBron and Anthony Davis. Like, they're trying to push this because they know, how big it is. As Terrell Owens says, get your popcorn ready is what everybody's thinking, when they hear this about NBA coming back. So, it sounds exciting. It is. It's really exciting. Like I said, FanDuel has their lineups up already. I'm over here trying to make my $4 lineup to make $1 million. But do we still have what happens next week when we see more players get, or test positive? Shaman, Lou Williams already said he's considering not playing. Now Shaman comes out and says he tests positive. I'm pretty sure he's probably not going to play. Like, the closer we get, the more information we'll know. And like you said, they're testing people 3 days. If you fail one of those tests, if you fail one, or you test positive on one of them,
and that's like done. And that's an automatic 2 weeks right there. So that's 2 weeks you got to sit out, sick or not sick. And then if you are sick, you're not guaranteed to get over it in 2 weeks. If you do eventually if you do unfortunately get it. So that's another thing to keep in mind as well.
Yeah. So it's a lot. I mean, like I said, I hope we do get it figured out. And I really hope we don't have to not have a season. But if it's safer, then that's what we have to do. It is what it is.
And, we'll just end it on that note. And, we've been talking about the future and stuff like that, and the future generations of basketball and stuff like that. And Terry, brought this up in the chat. which we were going to discuss this tonight. Makur Maker, the cousin of Thon Maker, who plays for Detroit Pistons, he made a big time move. D-Lock, very big time move. He committed to a historically black college, HBCU, for those that don't know out there. One of the more famous, more well-known ones, Howard University. And, when I saw that commitment and we had that Final Four between like Howard, Kentucky, I think Kansas and UCLA, I believe. When I saw that, it's like, he might be being nice and having Howard in there, or he's going to like change the narrative. And when the big man decided to commit to Howard and go to DC, I said, wow, this may be a game changer. So what are your thoughts about him committing to Howard? And do other top guys who basically one and done anyway, do they go this route, go there for HBCU for a year and then bounce to the league? Or do you just see like a one-time thing and these other programs like a Kentucky and UCLA, Duke, they kind of like wrapping up and say, hey, we can't let these top guys go here?
Well, the first thing I thought was, and I still have to look to double check, but I hope they play FAMU. I really do. I really hope they play FAMU in Tallahassee, because the ticket is going to be about maybe $12 or whatever, and I will be there to watch and play. I mean, come on now, that's all kind of sense. This dude is probably going to be pretty solid in the league anyway. And they actually do play them, so I will definitely check that out. And that's the first thing that came to my mind, is the fact, okay, now you're looking at a future great player at Howard. Like, he's going to be dropping 40 points every game that he plays. So, but it can be a game changer. The thing about this is a person that you're going to, or most players, they're going to watch and see, how does this play out for him? Now, we know a player of his caliber, they're going to stay 1 year and they're going to leave. So don't expect for this guy to come back and, make a bigger impact with a team. This is different than football. You have the opportunity to where you can go to a team 1 year and then leave. So I do think that it makes a huge impact, but also, and be prepared for this, I think we're going to see a lot more teams, or bigger D1 teams, that are going to be taking bigger risks to get these players now. What I mean is, now they're going to be doing a lot more to get these players to sign at the Duke, the Kentucky, the Notre Dame, NC State, because HBCUs are in play now. They are what we call the move at the moment. So you're going to have players already keeping them high on the list and saying, well, now you got to do twice as much to convince me otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So some teams, it's just what it is. I mean, come on now. We just seen Jimbo get in trouble for some NCAA violations.
Yeah.
We can do history, for the last couple of years. We'll find some of the greatest teams that did all kind of violations. Some teams are going to take a risk to get some of these players. Now, some teams, they're still going to recruit correctly. They're going to do what they're supposed to, and they'll grab one or two. But a team that I do see that's going to probably benefit the most from this, out of all D1s, is Memphis. I got a feeling that this is a great move for Penny Hardaway.
Why you say that?
Memphis. Well, I just feel like now that you're looking at, okay, well, we want to go to a historically black college or HBCU. Memphis is the closest to it.
Yeah.
On the D1, well, considered the D1 level. So they are going to push. I think they're going to benefit a lot from it if these teams, let's say a player is saying, well, I want to go to a school that is really, like I said, more towards my culture. I feel like Memphis is more so towards that culture than the Duke, than the North Carolina, than all these other big schools. So now, like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see like if the next HBCU that grabs a big time player is FAMU or South Carolina State, so or North Carolina A&T. You have a lot of pretty solid players that are going to consider. But this is not the first time like that this has happened. Like it's the first time in basketball, but I can tell you plenty of track athletes that are professional that went to HBCUs. We know a lot of professional football players that went to HBCUs. The bigger thing about this is the fact that it's like the top player in the nation. So, but I do think that it's going to change a lot.
In the current climate that we're in now, ladies and gentlemen, if we're going to be honest, this kind of, pushed him this way. And I hope, he made this, D-Lock, I hope he made this decision with good intentions. Not just doing this to be a fad. I talked about this in the Crooks process, my latest episode. With all these big companies and so forth, saying Black Lives Matter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Action speaks louder than words. You can come out and say this, put a message out, a video, whatever. But your actions after you do said video, whatnot, is going to tell the story.
Yeah.
If you got a history of this and that and the other, then how are you going to change for the better for the future?
Mm-hmm. To make sure he's not clout chasing.
Make sure he's not clout chasing. We're not saying he is. He could feel genuine like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just hoping, this decision is from the heart. Because, he still had those other schools up there as well. Like Kentucky, UCLA, and others, and Kansas. There's another top young recruit out there. I forgot his name at the moment. He's considering doing the same thing as well. Now I think he's a couple years down the road, but if he's got that mindset right now, then what about the others?
Yeah, they're following suit.
What about the others? For Howard University, this is a big get. This is like, a game changer for you. You can like, this is like a move that when you get to conference play, D-Lock, you can player, if he's up to snuff and full swing and dominant and stuff like that, take you through a conference tournament and whatnot, and you can maybe surprise somebody in that first round in the NCAA tournament.
Oh yeah, if he's up to the expectations of being this player, then yes. I mean, you're looking at a player that can make this move. Now, what happens is, we know this. I'm pretty sure you know this. Being a coach, these athletes, they talk to other athletes when they make these decisions in high school. So now there's a situation where you may see the number one recruit and the number two recruit say, well, dang, you know what? Hey, let's both go to X, Y, and Z. Let's both go to South Carolina State. If that happens, then we might be looking at a 30 for 30 in the future. Because now you're looking at a team that might make the tournament, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four. Now we're looking at more titles. And this is just not right now. This is kind of years down the road. But once you do that, now you start to turn. Now the bigger schools like to do, like the Kentucky, they start to struggle with some of the athletes that they want to get. Because they're, now teaming up, going to these different schools, which would be a huge plus. And we know that another thing that athletes do help with is the facilities. A lot of these HBCUs, a lot of facilities are not very, very great compared to other facilities like the Kentucky and the Duke. Like, we're just being honest. You get you a couple players to come there and make that big change, it changes for the future, for the better. If, like we said, he's sincere and he has, he means well, which we do believe, he can make a huge difference moving forward.
And on his on HBCU game day, the Twitter page, they posted an article, which I think everybody should read. They posted like about 2 hours ago. Black college athletes shouldn't have to choose amenities over humanity. I mean, yes. I mean, well, Howard University, yes, one of the predominant HBCUs out there and whatnot. And I know that I'm pretty sure they're well kept up and all that stuff. But I live by Alabama A&M, about 30 minutes out. And, their facilities are nice. It could be better if, more people be more invested into the school and stuff instead of like worrying about partying and stuff like that. That's another story for another day. But, you see some stories about some of these HBCUs. I know like years ago that Grambling was having issues, the football team, like poor, practice facilities. They can't get basic Gatorade and stuff like that. Those type of issues. And, you wonder, if these kids going to make these moves to to these schools, you got to galvanize the base to donate the money to improve things, to keep these Dukes, UCLA's, Kentucky's, Alabama's, Auburn's, Florida State, Creighton, Oregon, whoever out the way.
Yeah. And that's what this big move, I mean, I really believe that's what this move is going to do. I mean, that's why it's so huge. I think that obviously it's a culture move, but at the same time, Howard's going to get a lot more attention because of this. They're going to sell more tickets because of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we're just being very blunt, they're going to sell more tickets. Now, if they mess around and get, like we said, in the tournament, and they get past a couple other schools, now more money is being invested. So that happens. Not only that, like we talked about, now you have that junior in high school right now, or that sophomore who's saying, well, damn, look at this guy right now at Howard. I don't need to go to a bigger school. I can go to Howard or a school like this to make a big difference. If he goes to Howard, whoever this, just saying a sophomore, junior goes to Howard, he's following in the footsteps, and now the attention that Howard gets continues to grow. Therefore, more money. Now the facilities are improving. So, and that is something that we see. Like, I'm pretty sure you've noticed, especially being in Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Roll Tide, Alabama, their facilities are probably top of the line right now.
Yeah.
Why? Because they've been winning championships. How many championships they got right now? Maybe 7 or 8. They've been to how many title games?
A lot.
So, yes. So over the last decade. So they're earning all this money. And we're being real, okay, they have a basketball team, but we haven't really heard too much about the basketball team. Not much from the track team, these different sports, rarely. But the national championships that Nick Saban is bringing to Bama is bringing a lot of money. So if you get the same thing in any other sport at a different school or whatever school, that's going to be the beneficial part, is we're bringing in a lot of people, and now that's bringing a lot of attention, which means now we have a lot more money invested into the program, which is huge, because I stay maybe 10 minutes from FAMU, and I honestly can tell you the difference between FAMU and FSU. I don't even need to see the front of this, like the name Florida State and Florida A&M. I can tell you if you put a blindfold, around my eyes and you just drop me off one of these campuses, I can tell you just by getting there, okay, well, I know which one is which because of what's invested into it, how much money has been invested into it. So one player, go to a big school like this, it can be huge, man. Like not just for Howard, but for other HBCUs.
And I want to. Well, I know this is a basketball show, but I want to ask you this. Yeah, these basketball players can go to basically go to any school they want. These top of the cream of the crop can go to these schools and bounce after a year or so. But for these black athletes to see a change in the system and how things are operated and how them get fairly compensated for their likeness and whatnot, because let's be real, these universities making a lot of money off these guys. You couldn't tell me Zion Williamson made boatloads of money for Duke.
Oh yeah, he
did. You couldn't convince me.
Nike.
And Nike, yes. And I think if you don't see the football players doing this, I think this is going to be like a dent, to be honest with you. If the football players start going to some of these schools, if, I just use this player as an example who committed to Alabama. If Bryce Johnson, quarterback from California, decided, hey, I don't know how things looking down here, and so I'll just go down to Montgomery to play at Alabama State.
Yeah.
Or I'll just go down and play at Tuskegee. Till you get those type of moves, especially in the football, mainly in the football side, because that's where the main money's at. Once you see those type of players going there, I think that's where you see the change, and who knows what happens with the NCAA and whatnot in these universities from there.
Well, that happens. That's gonna turn everything. And like I said, I think the biggest deal is you're going to see these bigger teams, bigger schools, the Dukes, the Clemsons, the Bamas, or they're going to start doing things to guarantee that they can get this kid in to their school. We have to do a lot to make sure that we get this kid to come to our school. Like that is going to be the next move because you're already bringing them on your visit. You already have a nice campus. You already have the history of the titles. You already have the pipeline of NBA players going to the draft from this school, or NFL going to the draft from the school. And they're still not going to go to you. So now it's like, well, damn, what else can we do? Like, what else can we possibly do to make sure that we keep this going? Because, question, why is, we can even go back to basketball, why is Kentucky with Calipari, why did they make that run they did? Because they had recruits come in every year replacing the top guy that they had.
Yep.
Why is Bama, Nick Saban, so him and Clemson, they're going back and forth? Because they're replacing their 5-star, 4-star recruits. So we knows what happened if you miss one or two. If you mess around, one of these schools, if they mess around and do not get that high amount of recruits at one point, they take a step back. We see this with Florida State. Jimbo left, Taggart came in. We so-called heard a couple years. It's been a couple of years and he's gone. The reason why is because recruiting wasn't the same with Jimbo. It's the same thing for basketball. Calipari is still getting his recruits, but they're not what all the Anthony Davis, the Boogie Cousins, all these guys that were coming in for a while. So obviously Calipari, and Nick Saban, those guys, they can miss a couple of years of recruiting. They're not going to get fired regardless. But if you are a coach that have not been continuously getting a lot of guys, there's a good chance that you're going to be gone. So with that being said, some of these teams know that one or two missing one or two of these recruits that can make a big difference.
Well,
a huge difference.
I bring this coach as an example, and kind of like how, Maker made his decision like this in the climate that we're in right now. Mike Gundy out of Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
The comments he has said and stuff like that, and the things he has said, not just, here recently, but in the past, and, him and highlighting him saying what he said, and the players kind of like, yay, man, this, and some of the things he has said, saying that, if you don't do my way, I see you're behind back to South Dallas and stuff like that. These kids look and listen. They're going to look and listen. They're going to pay attention. And for a Mike Gundy who's been, let's be honest, this average at Oklahoma State and has below 500 against Oklahoma, which I'm surprised he hasn't been let go because of that, because you get Mike Gundy like that anywhere. But anyways, these guys are seeing what these coaches are doing and what the actions are saying.
Mm-hmm.
They going with the social media age, and these guys talk, and these guys have more accessibility to talk to each other and whatnot. The ways of communication is going to be there. Coach K put out that video. That's good. But okay, what are you going to do to adhere to these players' safety? Make sure they ain't, held a prejudice against them. And whatnot.
I mean, it's good to put a video, but that actions speak louder than any word that can be said. So right now, that is what we are, noticing. That's what we know. And now, like I said, Maker making that move to a HBCU is going to speak volumes. But now I'm telling you, if this dude goes, let's say he goes there, he has a great year in league, and he's still top 2, top 3, held the first pick. What would turn a player down from going to the HBCU now? Because the same thing he could have did at Duke, he did at Howard.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you end up going to? Why would you go to Kentucky now? Now, like I said, if you're trying to go for titles, I get that. But remember, now you can say, well, dang, okay, I still can be recruited. I still can go to a big school. I can still go to Howard, or I can go to HBCU. But let me call up this person, see if they can come with me, and maybe we can make this run for this title for 1 year, and then we can be out. So the same thing that Kentucky did, the same thing that these kids were doing, going to Kentucky, calling each other, making these moves, go to school with each other, they can do the same thing at an HBCU and get the same results.
And you kind of more around more people in your skin color.
It's true.
Everyone's gonna be real, and
you feel like you're at home.
You feel like you're at home, and compared to these other places, that they may treat you good, but do they see more than just an athlete?
Yep. And it's just a little thing that has been recently happening that has made a lot of players, college, high school players, make these different decisions in all sports. I mean, like I said, you have Dabble, who wears the shirt that he wore, Gundy with his response. That doesn't help anything. So when they see this, they're like, well, dang, how does this person feel? How does that person feel? How does this coach feel? How does all of these are in question. So now you want to go somewhere where you feel like you're at home. That's just the end all. That's it. That's a lot more comfortable than being somewhere that you're not super comfortable with.
And I'll bring up this last thing. Kind of go back to football a little bit. Nick Saban brought up, a couple years ago. He was on the 5-on show. If I were brought up the point about Cam Robinson and somebody else caught a gun charge in Louisiana because a couple of players there from Louisiana and they caught a gun charge, and Saban, was kind of defending his players like, hey, okay, why my two players getting arrested for the charge, but the other two guys in the car weren't? Why my guys getting popped and and these other two guys let go?
Yeah.
And when I saw that, it's like he's defending his players. He's like on national TV defending his players, and these guys see that. It's like, damn, coach may be hard on our ass and stuff like that, but push come to shove, he'll have our back.
Yep. And that's huge. I mean, that's we as fans, a lot of times what we see is what is on the field, on the court, right? That's all we really see. We don't know the grind that a lot of these guys go through. We don't see how close they are to the coaches, or how, how often are they in the training room or the film room with their coaches and doing all this talk. Like, there's times where these coaches do interviews about these athletes, and it's like some people are kind of shocked to how well they're knowing their athlete. Well, just because you see them on the field doesn't mean that's the only time that these two communicate. Jimbo don't talk to his quarterbacks. I'm sorry, not Jimbo. Nick Saban doesn't talk to his quarterbacks and his running backs and his offensive line only at practice. There's other times where he has, he's cool with them. I think, wasn't it Jalen Hurts when he had an interview with him when he was at Alabama? I think he was crying or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, they know this is family to them. They're that close with them. So you want a coach to feel that way. So a lot of these times, and that's why it's kind of weird to see how Gundy went about his situation, is how close are you to your guys? I think I was hearing something about Shannon Sharp was saying that he calls his guys by their numbers, not by their names. That's kind of weird alone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it like stuff like that kind of gets you to question, well, okay, what's really how you really feel, X, Y, and Z. But these guys know they know their athletes pretty well. So most of the time, like you said, he's sticking up for his players. This is what athletes want to see. Athletes don't want to see you act one specific way on the visit, and then after the visit over, where I'm just like another player because that happens multiple times. This is the reason why we see a lot of guys transfer. Oh, I'm not comfortable here, or this is not where I wanted to be. But you committed to them at some point. Therefore, they sold you, to think that this was a great place. Now that you get here, this coach isn't, who you thought he was. We don't really see that many people leave Alabama. At least I don't think. The only person I think really they rarely leave.
Well, this past recruiting cycle, basketball and football wise, a lot of guys been coming in and out. So, basketball, they has some guys transferred down. These guys were brought in. Well, a couple of guys were brought in through the Avery recruit. And, one with Nate Oates. But football, they had some cycles come through as well. Some guys as well. Like a couple guys transferred to Mississippi State. In basketball, one big man, he transferred to Maryland. So, there are guys that leave, and guy, that played North Alabama High School here, He transferred to Texas Tech. So, they transfer. Every school has transfer portals and whatnot. And things don't go their way. It could be for a variety of reasons. But
yeah, different reasons. Yeah, you're right.
But, to kind of bring it home in the climate we're in, this is where we at right now. We're still having protests out there. There's still injustice out there. Granted, there's no laws being made, a lot of pandering and stuff like that, and nice gestures. But if no laws and stuff being put in place, a lot of grandstanding, then when the change is happening?
Now, we got to be the ones that make that change.
Yep. And I hope these players take notice to that if these coaches going to put out these messages like that, like a Dabo Swinney, like a Mike Krzyzewski, Nick Saban, Nate Oates, Bruce Pearl, and others, they got to stand by it. Actions got to be better than words.
That's what it's about. I mean, if you say one thing and do something else, trust and believe somebody's going to tell somebody. It's going to get out.
So, congratulations to him and salute to him to make that big decision. I want to also leave in this note, D-Lock, that I hope some of these other HBCUs kind of see this and kind of, reach out to community and kind of get more, ask the community, hey, I think this is our time to shine. Let's pull our resources together, get some things tuned up, built up, whatever, and see if we can make a change in this system. Because these sponsors, these companies like Under Armour, Nike, Adidas, they go where these players go. And that's where the money comes in too.
Yeah, that's where the money comes in. But I think also it does go with now, I think at this time, this is where we need the HBCUs to, like we said before, the money that they have now, you really have to invest in your program.
Yep.
This is the chance to do that. Because, there's a lot of sanctions that go on at all schools, and HBCUs are also in that same category where, we would see them get a great player, get, this player or do this. And out of nowhere, they spent the money somewhere else. So they're cheating these kids with their money. They're supposed to be getting them, traveling these places, and they're not getting different stuff like that. So this is the chance to be on the same level as all these other schools. Be on the same level as Kentucky. Be on the same level as Duke. Same level as Clemson. You have a star athlete who's trying to make a statement. This is that statement. And now the HBCU just got to follow. You follow, now about 3 or 4 years, we could be looking at a big change.
And that's just, you said it well. So hopefully we see that big change. This has been our show, ladies and gentlemen. I know we went a little over, but I think, what we talked about was a good, healthy discussion tonight. And, with the league, wrapping up, play and getting things back and running, we got loads to talk about, until the season, well, actually the preseason starts on the 22nd. So we'll see how, those things go and bring you breaking news, anything like that, in the coming weeks. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys definitely can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Black-813, Black the word -813 numbers. I am actually working on my own YouTube channel as well. You can just look me up, Dentarius Lock. You'll be able to spell it once you see my Instagram or my Twitter. And that's where I'll be posting my videos. Let them know where they can find me.
You can follow me on Twitter at Spawn4288. You can follow me on there. You can follow me on the Crooks Process also on Instagram and Facebook, The Crooks Process. I did recently put out an episode out off topic from sports about all the goings on with what's going on in the country right now, which kind of tied in, what we talked about here for the past 25 minutes or so about Maker's decision, what's going on with the country. So check that out on there and, give it a like, give it a share, leave me a comment on there. And like I said, check out Black Dash on YouTube. Once he gets that channel up and running, please give him a look on Dentarius a look on that as well. Also check out iesportsradio.com for all our shows in the network. Please check that out. We got some new shows coming to y'all. I think we're going to start a Seattle show, so look out for that. So a lot of things happening here at IE Sports Radio. But till then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.
All right, peace.